For the past 12 months, I invested $2,000 every single month into the S&P 500. All the financial gurus online really swear by this approach, so I wanted to find out for myself if it was really worth the hype. So as usual, I shall be the bigger man and put my own money to the test and document that journey for you guys here to watch on YouTube. As you can see from the video title as well, I only started this portfolio last year, so this should also answer a overwhelmingly big question that all of you guys have. Is it too late to start investing consistently in 2026? Not just start investing, but start investing consistently and properly, and hopefully responsibly as well. So in today's video, I want to talk about why I started this portfolio, the system that kept me consistent, and exactly how much money I made after one full year of investing into the S&P 500. Let's go! The main reason for starting this portfolio is because I wanted this to be like my retirement portfolio. Now, even though I've been investing for the last 6 to 7 years, I really have to be honest and touch my heart and say that I really haven't been a very good investor, both in terms of returns and in consistency. And proud of saying that, or rather, that's a weird thing to be proud, right? But rather, I will be humble enough to be okay admitting that on camera to you guys. And I used to only invest whenever I felt like it, and my returns were exactly what you expect. Inconsistent, messy, and totally useless. Kind of like all the past relationships I have, I guess, if you can, relate to those. So last year I decided enough was enough. We're gonna do this properly, and I'm gonna document this on YouTube so you guys can keep me accountable as well. So as much as I'm helping you, you guys are also helping me to stay accountable as well. And even though retirement is still quite far away, I want to be financially free as soon as possible, because I know that if something happens to me and I can't work anymore, I still want to be able to support my family and live life as normally as possible. I'm honestly not a particularly emotional person, but I know that two things in my life are very, very important to me. Number one is freedom, and I don't want anyone, nobody should have the power to decide how I want to live my life. And number two is I want to be able to take good care of my family and keep them safe and healthy for as long as possible within my means. So to achieve those two big things that I have in my head, the goal I have in my mind for retirement is to have at least $10,000 per month of passive income when I retire at 65 years old. Then you might be asking me, wow, Xuan Kai, why did you choose this number? Honestly, I chose it because it was a nice round number and it sounded really good, and I just plucked it out of my ass. But all joking aside, I know that I can currently live very comfortably on a $5,000 to $6,000 salary in Singapore right now. So if I put in a little bit of a buffer, that will round up to something pretty nice like $10,000. So $10K a month will equate to $120,000 a year in terms of income. Then I'll work backwards to ask myself, how should I invest so that I can achieve this $120,000 per year income? This is such a simple theory, but yet I've not lived according to this theory for so many years, because it's such a good filtering question, especially when I get so much shiny object syndrome whenever I see something drop in the stock market. I just want to buy it, right? But since I started this portfolio, it has gotten me pretty grounded, because I know exactly what I want to achieve for my retirement goal. That's number one, and that in turn has shaped how I should invest in order to hit that goal consistently as well. Because if I invest more into the random things I have absolutely no conviction and no knowledge of, it would mean that I have less money to invest into this portfolio, and I'll definitely not hit my goals. Is that what you guys want? To invest into any zapalang random stuff and then ultimately fall short of your goal and, having to work at 65 years old and delay your retirement? I don't know. You pick your poison, man. So assuming I use a 5% return that dividend stocks can potentially give, I will need $2.4 million in 33 years time when I eventually turn 65 years old. I'm revealing my age right now through this, so you guys should already know how old I am if you do the math. So if I started investing with $2,000 a month and assuming $24,000 a year of investing for the next 33 years time, the S&P 500 has also historically, I must also stress this is a historical return of 8 to 10%, taking the most conservative 8% for example, I will be able to get a portfolio size of $3.8 million according to this compound interest calculator. Of course, this is just an estimation that might be wrong in the future, but at least I know what direction I want to be headed towards. I might be off maybe $1 million or $2 million, but whatever it is, it's still better off than what I have right now. So what kind of retirement do you guys want in the future? Everyone's retirement looks different. I have friends who want to retire at 40, friends who want to retire at 35, some even earlier. I don't know how they're going to do that. But whatever it is, because they want to retire earlier, then this type of index fund investing would not work for them, because you need a longer runway in order to get that 8 to 10% of compounding returns and to let the years work for you, right? So maybe they need to invest in something totally different. I don't know. It depends on you guys, right? So consider when you want to retire and how much you need. Then you can work backwards to find an investing style that really fits your ideal new life. Now that you know how much you need to retire, then comes the strategy to make everything fall into place. And that brings us to the systems that I've put in place to keep me consistent with investing. Before I started investing into the S&P 500, I spent the better half of the last 2 years investing into dividend stocks. That's the hottest topic in Singapore right now because the dividend stocks are doing so well. They didn't do so well when I was investing in it, but when I stopped touching them, then they start flying, so maybe I should not touch more things as well. So I really enjoyed my time doing dividend investing because whenever I received a dividend payout, it really felt like the closest to passive income. But after building it up to about a $60,000 portfolio after 2 whole years, I realized that the overall returns were around 5 to 6% and I didn't actually need the cash right now. So context matters, right? Depending on what you're investing as well. I had a decent job working as a physiotherapist at a full-time private clinic, and I also had income from option selling and YouTube coming in right now. So you guys who are watching, you guys are contributing to my income. Thank you for that. So I figured I want to gradually sell off that portfolio so that I can rotate that money into index funds instead, which historically has shown higher returns than dividend stocks. Except of course DBS, for example. If you guys are holding DBS, congratulations. It's a little bit of a weird stock because dividends are really good and also capital gains are really good. So it's the best of both worlds in that sense. I'm not saying that you should buy it, but it's one of the things that are standing out right now in terms of the dividend stocks. But throughout my entire dividend investing journey, I've also found out something really interesting, that I was a hella emotional investor. When the stock market was high, I didn't stick to my plan and I was afraid to buy because I had this thought in my head that I think you guys can resonate with as well, because if I buy it now at a high price, what is going to happen if it crashes after that? I am going to crash out emotionally as well. So I waited and some of the stocks just never went down to a price that I was comfortable to buy. That's when I realized that number one, I lost out on profits because I didn't stick to the plan, and number two, I'm investing with so many emotions and that's just going to be a recipe for disaster. So when I started this S&P 500 portfolio, I decided that I was going to automate my investing as much as I can so that I can take myself that I think that I'm smart and emotionally so in control, this self that I'm appearing in front of you guys, I'm going to take myself out of the picture and just invest consistently. So I'm currently investing into the S&P 500 using the CSPX stock on Interactive Brokers. They also have a regular savings plan system that I set up and it just automatically purchases $2,000 worth of it every single month. So this is how it usually goes. Around 20 something of the month itself, they usually send me a notification on my phone itself and tell me that they are going to execute the transaction. All I really need to do is to manually log into my bank app and deposit the money so that the account will have the necessary funds to execute the buy order. That's all I have to do. One step per month and that's it. I just need to do this 12 times in the last year itself and voila! Everything should work out very, very nicely. This is what people on the internet call dollar cost averaging. It just means that you buy consistently over a long period of time whenever the market is going higher or lower so that you can get a rather average or middle price. I honestly couldn't tell you what the price of the S&P 500 is nowadays because I just check it so little. I just let it run and now I'm checking it. If I don't do this video for you guys, I don't even know how much I'm earning or whether I'm up or down in that sense. Doing this method, you obviously might not get as much returns as someone who uses lump sum investing during times of recession, because when the market drops quite a bit and they go in with a very big sum of money, when it recovers, or if it recovers, you're going to make more money than the people who are buying consistently over a long period of time. But it will definitely beat the previous me who was a coward and stayed on the sidelines when the markets were rising non-stop. I've come to realize that I actually also really like dollar cost averaging because it just takes the pressure off investing, which is pretty nice, and knowing that I'm consistently investing just makes my life flow so much easier as well. So if you guys are anything like me, well, you're watching my videos, right? So you should be something like me in other words. So you might prefer a way of investing like that as well. I don't know. I don't have to stay glued to the charts all day long. I can just do my day job, balance it with YouTube, really go for my exercise, my gym, and really spend time with my girlfriend, and I can just focus on building my active income so that the more I earn, the more I can invest and the faster I can speed up this system as well. By also constantly practicing this muscle of investing every single month, when the recessions do come, I will be more emotionally trained such that all I have to do, very, very simple, is increase the amount of money I buy in that month, and I won't make the same mistake of trying to time the very bottom of that recession all over again. This works very well for me as I try to imagine my investing journey like training for a half marathon. I run 5 to 10k consistently to train up, and when the actual half marathon comes on, I just have to increase my training intensity to perhaps 15 kilometers, and I usually can breeze through the half marathon rather quite nicely as well. Well, at least back when I was in my 20s. I no longer run half marathons. Now that you know the full system, then you'll be wondering how how the entire process looks like. So I started the portfolio last year in 2025 during one of the best times, which was during the US tariffs. The whole market was so emotional and the stocks dipped like 20 to 30% in just a couple of days. Now, keep in mind, I've already been investing for the last few years, so all this you have to really take into account as well. And I've conditioned my mind, through a lot of hard work, a lot of blood, sweat and tears, to be excited whenever the market drops a lot. Sometimes a little bit too excited when everything drops too much, because I just want to buy everything. It's like going to the toy store when you're a kid and I want to buy everything, and I have to rein in my excitement and FOMO as well by centering myself with this portfolio. It's like telling myself, I can only buy this one toy. All these other toys I like as well, but I can only buy this one toy. So from this chart here, you can see that the overall market dropped like crazy in April 2025 and then rose very sharply after that. But if you look further on, you can see that here and there are still drops, but there are no more drastic drops anymore, just like the one in March or April of last year during the tariff situation. But even then, all this volatility or all these drops will also make most people nervous. I had friends who would text me during these moments and ask me, hey bro, are you going to buy anything in the stock market right now? Today dropped quite a lot, yeah? And to reply to those messages, I'm like, bro, you're watching the stock market too closely lah. This drop is only 1 to 2%, nothing too much to be concerned about. Maybe I'll buy. I think that most people are looking to earn money very, very quickly, just like how I was in my 20s. So much so that their investing horizon is too damn short. These two screenshots that I showed you are from the daily chart, so you'll be able to see how the stock market moves on a daily basis. But let's consider things from a different perspective, perhaps from a longer term perspective, a further distance, so that you can see things a little bit more carefully. This is the weekly chart instead, and from here you can clearly see that even though there are a few of these same drawdowns, this is exactly the same thing that happened, the overall trend is very, very clear to the untrained eye as well. Since the April tariff situation, the markets have just been recovering and pushing up to higher highs. So this is a mistake that most people do, and I do it all the time as well. It's just that they think that the markets are so high now and they don't want to buy because they are afraid that it might crash after that. So these people sit out and wait forever, and then they regret it after that because the market keeps pushing up higher after that. Nobody really knows what will happen. Now don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that the markets will always go up higher, because that's not the case, because this just happened to be the current scenario for the last year itself. So you can see right now that there's been a small drop on SPY, but overall it's still not far away from the previous all-time high of $697, which brings me very nicely to how much I've invested into the CSPX stock. Overall, I have invested $24,824, and it has net me an unrealized profit of, drumroll please, $2,598, which is around 10% of profit as of the making of this video. So I guess the financial gurus were right, in a way. It's actually quite similar to what people were talking about in terms of the historical gains of the S&P 500 on a yearly basis itself. Now, of course, some things to take note of just to make the argument a little bit much more fair is that I did enter the market at a pretty decent price during the tariff situation, so the initial entry probably helped a lot as well. However, it's more important to see what happened during all the other months as well. With every all-time high, I was able to keep calm and just allow the regular savings plan to take effect on its own. I wasn't emotional or scared about it. In fact, now I feel very comfortable just continuing to dollar cost averaging and just following the plan. That's something that I'm really proud of, because this marks 12 consecutive months of me being consistently investing without any interruptions, even though I didn't do much but set up the system. That's how powerful the system is. Once you set it up, you can just let it run and you don't need to put in any more additional effort, which is pretty nice, right? Don't you guys want this called the passive income? This is like the passive efforts after you set up the system with more effort at the beginning, right? I of course chose the overall US stock market precisely because it gives me a diversified portfolio of the top 500 US companies, and that gives me just tremendous peace to sleep at night. I used to stock pick all the time, but I realized that it takes so much effort to read all the annual reports, study on their business plans, and learn about their management team, and in the end, I'm still not sure if I can even stock pick well enough to beat the S&P 500. So why freaking bother? Can you guys do it? If you can, good for you, right? Good for you. Alright, limpe clap for you, right? But these 12 months of investing really felt so effortless compared to all the other times that I chose stock picking. I'd rather spend all my time working on my full-time job and also creating content, and then just leaving investing to become something a little bit more passive and diversified. This way, it allows me a longer runway for the investment to compound, and it ensures that I don't self-sabotage my own investments. How many of you guys get itchy fingers to rebalance your portfolio, buy some new hot stock, or even hesitate to buy more stock at new all-time highs? These are all very common problems, but the good news is there are solutions for each and every one of them. The journey of investing and personal finance is tricky not because of the finance part. Anyone can just easily spend 10 to 20 hours to educate themselves on most of the basic fundamental finance stuff, but the personal stuff is always the most difficult because we all grew up in different contexts, we have different backgrounds, we have different money beliefs, and that shapes us in terms of the emotions that we bring to the game of how we are going to approach money itself as a topic. It's going to be an endless topic for so many people, and I'm going a bit on a rant, but I don't think I know how important my channel is to both me and my audience, because I'm helping people out there, and in a way I'm also helping myself, and I'm not going to BS you guys. I'm mostly helping myself, try to use this to scale my income. But I'm really glad that I started this YouTube channel to help people and to really grow my personal brand, as to showcase the kind of person that I am, and hopefully help you guys through it. So your job right now is to figure out what limiting beliefs you have, confront them, and find a system that helps you stay comfortable investing consistently and also sustainably for as long a period of time as possible, so that you can make that process as easy as possible, so that you don't self-sabotage it like what I did in the last 2 years in that sense. Hopefully this video helps you guys get started on investing and building up your retirement portfolio. If you enjoyed this video here, then you'll probably enjoy this video here as well. Thanks for watching, have an amazing day as usual, and I'll see you guys in the next few videos. Bye bye.